Hello. This lesson is going to be all about narrative endings, ways that you can end your narrative story. So I have gone through possible endings and I have selected 5 different types of endings that I think really go with our realistic fiction topic the most. So today we're going to walk through each of them. And then as we do that, I want you to really think how each of these endings could possibly go in your story. That's going to help you with the later work that you will do on your own. So the first ending that I have here is the reflection ending. So what do you know about reflection? It says the narrator of the story steps back and reflects on what just happened. Now, the narrator is going to be your character. So your character is telling the story. So it would be your character stepping back at the end of the story and reflecting back on what happened. It says he or she often looks back on an experience and determines the importance of that experience or what they learned. So this would go beautifully with the heart of this story. So what did your character learn by experiencing the heart of the story? Could that be it's important to stick up for friends? Could it be that everyone has a fear? So don't be afraid or don't feel alone. So it's the reflection. What did they learn from the heart of the story that they can reflect upon at the end? The next ending is dialogue ending. And dialogue, as you may remember, is talking. So it says the story ends with an important conversation. So the important conversation could be your character and another character. It ends with a quote. The writer captivates the audience by making the characters more realistic and reveals their personalities. So you can have the character have a conversation with somebody that shows the ending. You could reflect on, or you could have your character reflect using dialogue, but what could they kind of maybe talk about if you had a dialogue where your character and someone else was having a conversation? The next narrative ending is what I call the emotional ending, or you may call it the warm, fuzzy ending. The story leaves you feeling good inside. A good writer tugs at the heartstrings to make the reader feel something. What could your character feel because their problem was solved? So think about when you have experienced something challenging in your life. How did you feel when you overcame that challenge? You probably felt proud, accomplished. Maybe you felt more confident. Well, your character is going to be no different. So think about how you can explain how your character grew in that confidence by really telling the reader how it affected them. The next ending is the image ending. So the story ends with an important scene that the writer shows the reader through vivid details. So I'm going to underline the word shows because you are really going to use those 5 senses words that talk about what your character sees. Well, let me fix that real quick. What your character sees, what they hear, maybe what they taste, maybe what they feel. So feeling doesn't have to be like actual touch, but it could also be emotion. I'll say emotion or touch. And then what do they hear, see, taste, feel? Missing one. I'll come back to that. So how you can show your reader what has kind of occurred at the end. It could be maybe they've just performed and they're on stage and they see people smiling. They hear the roar of the applause. They hear people screaming their name. So you could really explain in great detail that that feeling, that image of what your character is looking at, what that makes them feel. And so the reader is really going to feel connected to that. All right. Let's go ahead and move to our last, which is our lesson or moral ending. Let's see. I don't have a yellow here. Okay. Now, many of us already spoke about this, and so you may have already determined what your lesson or moral will be of your story. But this is the main character in the story grows, changes, or learns something at the end of the story. Now, in my story, my main character, Tabby, learns that she was not the only person that had a fear. And so that kind of helps her understand that she should really be more bold and open with people because everyone struggles. So that is her lesson, right? That everyone struggles, and she should be more open with people. She should be more vulnerable with people. Now, you can actually put some of these endings together. So you could easily do a lesson and maybe a dialogue where your character can be maybe talking with someone about the lesson that they learned. The lesson as well as the reflection ending, they kind of go together. So think about which ending would be the best, or endings would be the best for your story, because for your independent work time, you are going to experiment. And what I mean by that is you're going to try at least 2 different endings for your story from the options above. So similarly to what we did a few weeks ago with our leads, we're going to do with our endings. So just like a shoe store, when you go in, you're going to try on different types of shoes to see what feels good, and then what's the most appropriate, right, for your maybe event or outfit. You are going to write the ending in 2 different ways, and then you're going to try it with your story. So that is your assignment for your individual work time, writing time today.